Hello, everyone. We are super excited to finally announce our customer portal. In this transition, as we prepare for peak season and we begin to transition into the customer portal, we want to ensure that you are set up for success. We have created this demo video to show you how to utilize the customer portal if you need for reference. At this point, you should have received your login credentials from your recruiter in our weekly update reports. You should have received a link as well as credentials. Once you go into that link, we will go ahead and type in our credentials and click sign in. Now, this is going to be the homepage of your portal. Please note, if you want to go into your jobs, you're going to go over here where it says open jobs. Also, another thing to note is that if you are hiring for multiple terminals or stations, you should see each station listed here in this section, so you'll be able to see the individual pipeline for each of the locations that you are looking to recruit for. For the purpose of this video, we only have one, but we're going to click into the demo, and here you will see an overview of all of your candidates into your pipeline. You'll have a summary here, which breaks down, where you have where is the total number of candidates that you have in your pipeline. Pre-screened will signify that these are candidates that we have recently reviewed their resume. We are working on scheduling interviews with these candidates to learn more about their experience. Pending application are candidates that we've already interviewed and communicated and worked with, and now we want to move them forward in First Advantage, so we have sent them over the background application to get started with. In process signifies candidates who have completed their background application and are now working on completing the rest of the screening process for FedEx. Ready to start signifies new candidates who have completed all of the First Advantage screening requirements, have successfully passed everything, and have also undergone an interview with our team. So these are candidates that are now ready for you and your team, and they're ready to be connected with. Client hired will signify candidates that you have decided to move forward with as well. On the left side, you'll be able to see just like activity records as well. You'll be able to see like who you've viewed in the last few days. But on the left side, you'll also have the same summary, just broken down a little bit more. You can click into each of these candidates as well. Please note that for all of the pre-screen candidates, you won't have a ton of information because these are candidates that we're actively working to connect with. And before we present them over to you, we want to make sure that these are going to be viable candidates that we move forward in the process. In process, you will see here as well as candidates who you'll have a little bit more of an overview on these candidates, and then you'll also be able to actually track at which point in the process they are in. So you can see that this candidate already has their FedEx ID, their order ID. We're still working on their background application, but their motor vehicle report came back eligible, and it looks like we're waiting on their drug test results as well. So you'll be able to have a little bit more oversight into where they're at in the process. You'll be able to see here in client hired, same information, just all filled out for you. You'll have the equipment familiarization number, you'll have their FedEx ID, and you'll have all of this other additional information that is pertinent for you all when doing the road test or any other documentation purposes. You will also have a note here. We'll do our best to just update this as we receive updates as well. You've decided to hire this candidate, and this is the date that they're going to be starting. We'll also just make a little note in terms of placements and how we'll work through invoices as well. But you can see a fuller profile here, and then as well, you'll be able to see pending applications. So these are candidates that are still working on completing everything. They're not too far along in the process yet. Now, to just have a better visibility and be able to kind of go, if you want to be able to just look at specific parts of the process, so maybe you just want to see how many candidates you have in pending application or in process, or how many you've actually hired, or how many candidates are ready to go. For whatever reason, if you want to just have a little bit more condensed visibility on specific sections in the process, you will click into filter and you will unclick enabled. Once you've unclicked that, you can actually go individually into each part of the pipeline process. So, for example, if I just wanted to see new candidates that I need to connect with as a customer to get them moving in the process, I'm going to go into ready to start to see if I have any new candidates to review. I see Bobby is under here, and it looks like he's passed everything, and it looks like the last note that I provided to the recruiter was that I am going to be interviewing Bobby, and he will be completing his road test this Friday. And so you can kind of see here like just some general information. I also do want to just note too, when you are, looking into these candidates, especially when they're ready to start or in the client hired section, you will have overview as well of their resume, so you'll be able to just view that information. We are working for the following year to be able to attach any one-way video interviews with candidates as well, so that is something that we are actively working on. If you want to also provide updated feedback into this candidate, you can provide it here in this feedback section, where you can provide any additional feedback, because we know that there's things that can be ongoing changes when it comes to these candidates in the pipeline. Maybe their start date or their interview gets moved back, or maybe they just end up not being a good fit. You can provide this feedback in here, and this goes directly into our applicant tracking system. Similarly, if I want to just review the candidates that are that I decided to hire this month, I can go in here, can see I decided this month to just only hire George. I can provide feedback as well, ongoing feedback on George's progress. And again, all of this will be stored in our applicant tracking system and will be actually tasked over to us. So we have a running documentation list of, candidates and their progress. Now, if you want to go back into the pipeline to just see the overview again of all of the candidates, now that we've gone into each candidate individually to review their profile, we can go into filter and we can select enable and then do reset. So you'll be able to see all of those candidates. And then if you want to see just the whole demo again, you can click up here to refresh, and you'll be able to see again this home page to see all of the candidates, a full summary. You'll be able to see on the left hand side if you want to filter out the candidates depending on the section. You can see on the right side activity, and if you want to go back and review any other additional locations to see how those pipelines are going, you'll click on View All Jobs, and you'll have a list of records that you'll be able to individually go into. We are super excited to announce the customer portal, and we are hoping that you all are just as excited. We really believe in the success of this to give you all real-time updates, and please feel free to reach out, ask any questions. Your recruiter for the month of September will be reaching out to schedule calls to make sure that you're set up for success. And if you have any questions or feedback, please feel free to give it over to us. We are super, super excited to see how we can continue to help you all out. Have a good rest of your day.